Although Coraline seemingly defeats the other mother and returns to her real world, there is a disturbing theory suggesting that she never truly escaped. Instead, Coraline could be trapped in an illusion created by the other mother to keep her under control without her realizing it. This theory not only offers a new perspective on the film, but also challenges viewers to reconsider the ending and question the reality that Coraline believes she has regained. The ending of Coraline gives the impression of triumph, with Coraline finally escaping the clutches of the terrifying other mother. After an intense struggle to close the door that connects the real world to the other world, Coraline appears to return to her normal routine. Her previously neglectful and distant parents become more attentive and loving, and Coraline's life seems to improve considerably. However, for many fans, this happy ending hides something darker. There is a palpable strangeness in this real world to which Coraline returns. Everything seems excessively perfect: the blooming garden, the harmonious atmosphere at home, and even the behavior of her parents, who are now more present and loving than before. For a young girl who spent so much time in a world where things were enhanced versions of reality, this sudden change raises suspicions. This new behavior from the parents may not be a real transformation, but rather a continuation of the other mother's manipulation, creating a new illusion to keep Coraline imprisoned. Furthermore, the change in the scenery around Coraline is noticeable. The garden, for example, gains a vitality it did not have before. The film shows us that the other world was a distorted, overly beautiful version of reality, with vibrant colors and softer, more welcoming shapes. When Coraline returns to the real, this perfection could indicate that she never left the other world but was led to believe she had escaped, while in fact, she is still under the control of the other mother. For attentive viewers, the film Coraline is full of visual clues suggesting that Coraline may never have truly escaped the other mother's grasp. One of the main hints comes from Coraline's own parents. At the end of the film, although they are more affectionate, their gazes hold something unsettling. There is a certain emptiness in their eyes, similar to what we saw in the fake versions of them created by the other mother in the other world. This subtle detail may be a clue that these perfect parents are not the real ones, but rather creations manipulated by the other mother to keep Coraline under control. Another crucial element is the key Coraline uses to lock the door between the two worlds. Even after defeating the other mother, the key remains a threatening presence. At one point, the other mother's hand reappears, desperately trying to recover the key that Coraline throws into a well. This suggests that the connection between the two worlds still exists, and that the threat of the other mother has not been completely neutralized. The other mother's hand may symbolize that part of her is still active, searching for a way to reopen the portal, or worse, that Coraline never completely closed it. Another important symbolic detail is the full moon, which plays a significant role throughout the film. Before facing the other mother, Coraline is warned by the three spirits of trapped children that the battle is not over, even after she believes she has freed them. This can be interpreted as a warning that, although Coraline believes she has won, the other mother's influence still persists, and the young protagonist may be doomed to live the same fate as those children, a life within an illusion where she will never truly be free. These visual and symbolic signs indicate that Coraline may still be trapped in a distorted reality created by the other mother. Despite appearing to have won the battle, the villain's power has not been fully eliminated, and the key, as well as her parents' empty gazes, suggest that the line between the real world and the other world remains dangerously thin. The other mother, or Beldam, is portrayed in the film as a skilled manipulator, capable of creating illusions that seem perfectly real. From the beginning, she builds a world that is an improved version of Coraline's reality, with attentive parents, delicious food, and an enchanting environment. However, as Coraline begins to realize, all of this is a facade to attract and trap her victims. The other mother uses what Coraline desires to deceive her, making the young girl feel like she has finally found a place where she is truly loved and appreciated. But in reality, the Beldam is simply waiting for the right moment to take full control. When Coraline believes she has won and returned to the real world, the theory suggests she has not actually escaped the trap. Instead, she may be trapped in a continuous cycle of manipulation and illusion, where the other mother creates a new reality to fool Coraline into believing she is free. This new illusion could be even more dangerous, because instead of being openly evil like in the other world, it is subtle, masked as a normal and happy life, making it more difficult for Coraline to realize that she is still under control. This cycle of manipulation is similar to the fate the other children faced. Just as they were drawn in by the promise of something better, better and then imprisoned. Coraline may be living the same pattern. The big difference is that now, the other mother seems to have learned from her mistakes, creating an even more convincing illusion. Instead of an obviously false and strange world, she may have created a reality almost identical to the real one, but with small changes that make it too perfect. This makes Coraline believe she has truly returned home when, in fact, she is in a new and more subtle prison. This cycle of manipulation reveals the depth of the other mother's power. She doesn't need to create monsters or bizarre scenarios to imprison her victims. She can recreate everyday life so convincingly that her prey doesn't even realize they are being deceived. This transforms Coraline's ending into something much darker. The young protagonist may be destined to live indefinitely in an artificial world, never realizing that she never truly escaped. The idea that Coraline is trapped in a deceptive illusion is not exclusive to this film. It echoes recurring themes in other works of dark fantasy and psychological horror, where protagonists face distorted and illusory worlds that at first glance seem paradisiacal, but in reality hide terrible dangers. These stories often explore the fine line between reality and fantasy, challenging the characters and the audience to distinguish what is real from what is false. A direct comparison can be made with Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, where Alice is taken to a strange and surreal world, full of peculiar creatures and bizarre situations. Like Coraline, Alice believes she has returned to the real world after her adventures, but the boundaries between the two worlds remain blurry. Although Alice in Wonderland is lighter in tone, both tales share the idea that these alternate worlds can be traps created to confuse and disorient the protagonists, making it difficult to know if they truly escaped. Another parallel can be drawn with Guillermo del Toro's Pan's Labyrinth. In this story, the young Ophelia is also taken to a magical world that seems enchanting, but soon reveals itself to be treacherous and dark. Although the film's ending is ambiguous, many interpret that Ophelia may also be trapped in an illusory cycle, similar to Coraline's situation. Both protagonists are confronted with realities that appear beautiful on the surface, but hide the brutality and control of evil forces manipulating them. These works share a central theme: the difficulty of escaping fabricated realities created by superior forces. Like Alice and Ophelia, Coraline faces an authoritative figure, the other mother, who tries to control her through a mixture of promises and illusions. In each case, the protagonists are initially drawn into these worlds due to their curiosity or dissatisfaction with their real lives. But upon entering these magical realms, they are confronted with challenges that question their perception of what is true. This connection with other works of dark fantasy and psychological horror reinforces the idea that the cycle of manipulation Coraline may be trapped in is a representation of universal themes about illusion, control, and the battle for freedom. The seemingly happy ending of Coraline, as in many of these stories, may not be the end of her suffering, but only the beginning of a new form of imprisonment, masked by the false security of an illusory world. The theory that Coraline is trapped in the other world offers a new and disturbing interpretation of the film. Revisiting the story's events with this perspective, we begin to see that the seemingly happy ending may be just another illusion created by the other mother. Coraline, believing she has defeated the villain and returned to her real world, may have actually been deceived in a more subtle way, condemned to live in an invisible prison where everything seems perfect, but nothing is truly real. Throughout the film, we are led to believe that Coraline is in control of her own journey, especially when she overcomes the challenges imposed by the other mother. However, the idea that she is still trapped suggests that Coraline's victory was merely superficial. This transforms the narrative into something much darker. Instead of a story of triumph over a malevolent force, it becomes a reflection on how, sometimes, the struggle for freedom can be more complex than it seems. Even after defeating a visible enemy, the danger may persist in more insidious ways. This theory also implies that Coraline is a tragic character, perhaps doomed to live the same fate as the other children imprisoned by the other mother. If this is true, Coraline would be in an endless cycle of illusions, where she repeatedly believes she has escaped, only to discover, too late, that she is still under control. This interpretation gives the film a more despairing tone, suggesting that freedom is something Coraline may never fully achieve. For the audience, this theory challenges the perception of the ending of Coraline. What initially seemed like a satisfying conclusion now reveals itself as a possible continuation of Coraline's torment. The connection to other dark fantasy stories, such as Alice in Wonderland and Pan's Labyrinth, also reinforces the idea that these illusory worlds can be dangerous traps from which it is nearly impossible to escape. Coraline may be destined to live in a perpetual state of doubt, never sure if she is truly free or still under the influence of the other mother. This darker interpretation also provokes reflection on the deeper themes of the film. Coraline can be seen not just as a fantastic adventure, but as an exploration of the power of illusion, psychological control, and the struggle for autonomy. The other mother represents an oppressive authority figure who uses fear and seduction to keep Coraline under her dominion. Even when it seems Coraline has defeated her, the threat continues, invisible but present, hinting that total control is never truly broken. The theory that Coraline never escaped the other world sheds new light on the film, transforming the seemingly victorious ending into something much darker. Based on visual evidence, such as the strange behavior of Coraline's parents and the persistence of the key, the theory suggests that Coraline may be trapped in a new illusion created by the other mother, an illusion so convincing that even she believes she has returned to reality. The other mother's cycle of manipulation is ingenious, offering Coraline a false sense of security when, in fact, she remains imprisoned in an artificial world. This interpretation not only connects Coraline to other works of dark fantasy, such as Alice in Wonderland and Pan's Labyrinth, but also explores universal themes of illusion, control, and the difficulty of achieving true freedom. Coraline's journey, far from being just a victory over evil, may be a reflection on the hidden dangers of well-crafted illusions, and how oppressive forces can continue to exert power even when we believe we are free. If this theory is true, Coraline becomes a tragic character, trapped in a snare from which she will never completely escape. For the audience, this raises the question, can we truly trust the endings of our stories? Or are we, like Coraline, all susceptible to carefully constructed illusions that mask a darker truth? Now, we want to know your opinion. Do you believe Coraline truly escaped the other mother, or does this theory make sense to you? Leave your comments below and share your own interpretations. Let's continue exploring the mysteries of this dark world together.